Crypto Rich. Thank you for having us. It is a pleasure to be here. Awesome to hear your voice again. I think I've had you on our show twice in the past.
Yes, I've been on your show and you've been on my show. That was a few years ago.
Yeah, so I'm happy to reconnect. And it's well, I'm just honored to be here with you and with Mr. X. Mr. X is my business partner at the Crypto Vigilante. He is I think I consider him to be the analyst, the most important analyst when it comes to privacy coins. I was blessed to meet Mr. X right around the time Monero came out, and we've been friends since. And then he's a Bitcoin OG like myself. We don't agree at all, or somewhat, throughout Bitcoin history. We've actually took opposite stances regarding the Bitcoin civil war. But our friendship kept prospering, because that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to communicate and keep the channels of communication open, even if you disagree. Yes. So I've been able to foster a great friendship with Mr. X throughout the years. With Jeff Berwick, the Dollar Vigilante, and Ed Bugos, the Golden Lantern, as we like to call him. We started the Crypto Vigilante as an offshoot of the Dollar Vigilante, and we carried on to create the Vigilante Insiders Club, which is a premier club where investors have direct access to us to, learn from us as we analyze the market in real time. So
Rafael, excuse me a second. And I should have said this earlier. So the website is cryptovigilante.io, cryptovigilante.io, and you offer, well, what do you offer? Like you do analysis. So we focus cryptocurrencies.
Yes, well, we focus on on the most important questions in regards to space, which is the what is it that we're talking about, the what, and then we call that fundamental analysis. We focus on the when, technical analysis, when to get out, when to get in, and we focus on optional security, how to actually use these cryptocurrencies properly, how to actually use these technologies in a way that I can customize myself, in a way that I can secure myself. So that's our research in a nutshell. The how, when, and the what are we talking about. So we have a pretty amazing team. The technical analysts were the first guys. We're of the group of the first guys who first charted Bitcoin in the Bitcoin Talk forums in 2010. And this is a group that went on to create I think it was the first newsletter in Bitcoin history called the Bitcoin Bull Bear, which later on went to be called Bull Bear Analytics. Well, that team is now, that is the Crypto Vigilante. That's part of the Crypto Vigilante now. So we have the most seasoned crew when it comes to technical analysis. Mr. X was part of that crew himself. He was one of the earliest members of that network. And so, I'm just pretty blessed to have these Bitcoin OG geniuses around me on a daily basis from whom I learn and grow with all the time. And so look, why did we create this? We didn't need to create the Crypto Vigilante. We're all Bitcoin OGs. The reason why we have this is because the most important aspect of these technologies is not the economic structure, not how it's being presented in the market or received by governments. It's not the technology. Believe it or not, the most important aspect of these technologies is the knowledge held by the individuals that come into these networks. And these technologies, if they stand alone, they can be used for any reason, right? But for any purpose. It's just technology. What matters is that people learn about these technologies so that they may use these technologies in ways that it is best for all of us. So I consider these technologies all to be a weapon per se that could be used for anything. It's just a tool. These technologies are a tool. So the strength and the value of these networks really comes down to the quality of knowledge and skills that the investors of these networks hold within themselves. So education is of utmost importance. The most important aspect of Bitcoin is the Bitcoiner. The most important aspect of Monero is the Monero person, the Monero individual that's part of the network. So, Mr. X, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit? I know Mr. X was working. I think Mr. X was setting up his voice disguiser. He's really into privacy, so I don't know if and he's talking to us through a Linux machine and a and a bunch of his configuration is pretty awesome. So
I don't know why he bothers. Everybody knows that his real identity is Mr. X. Yeah, we got you sus, Mr. X. Okay, well, Mr. X, whenever you're ready, you can just interrupt the conversation, and then we'll come to you.
Perfect. Yeah. So, my name is Rafael. I'm also one of the founders, along with Mr. X, Ed Bugos, and Jeff Berwick, of the Crypto Vigilante and the VIC. And we hold a conference every year, which is Anarchapulco in Mexico. This year, we'll be hosting it in Puerto Vallarta. And we also have a conference in Liberland, which is right smack in the middle of Croatia and Serbia, on the Danube. There's a little micronation of which Justin's son, the founder of Tron, I think Tron, right? He's the prime minister of this little micronation now, which is pretty cool. So it's a bunch of Bitcoiners and Bitcoin OGs creating our own little country. So we host a yearly festival there too called Librepolco. So we have Librepolco and Anarchapulco in Mexico. Every year, you guys are welcome to come hang out with us, meet us. We focus on health and wellness, the markets. It's a full stack conference. So it's a very beautiful environment. So that's our goal is to educate people and to create environments where we can grow a community. That's really our goal here is to grow a community of individuals that are seeking freedom and are seeking freedom in their personal life and seeking freedom in the world we live in. So, that's pretty much us in a nutshell.
Okay, well, listen, critical to freedom is privacy. And I just want to acknowledge there's somebody from the team from Pirate Chain here, which is a privacy crypto, and also Zano are here. And Zano and Pirate Chain have both been guests on previous X Spaces. So hello to both of you. Now, why is privacy important?
It's important for the same reason shelter is important. So the concept of shelter is nothing more than a very natural concept found in all types of organisms. The notion of a bank.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I'm going to push back against you. Okay, here, right? And you just got to know this is for the sake of argument, not because I disagree with you. Okay, I'm big into Pirate Chain. I'm big into Sentinel and Zano, and I'm big into privacy generally. And Sentinel, by the way, have also been on this X Space. They offer a decentralized VPN, which is very, very important for privacy. But shelter protects me from the elements, the rain and the cold, and I need shelter because I don't have fur. But privacy? I mean, seriously? Only criminals want privacy, Rafael.
No, not really. I mean, everyone that wants to avoid any type of voyeurism in their private life is using privacy. You use privacy when you lock your home, right? Going back to the analogy of shelter. When you have curtains on your windows, you have privacy. Privacy really comes back to a very organic and the concept of personhood, of interacting with each other as individuals. So where there is a direct connection. In other words, privacy gives you intimacy. Without privacy, you don't have intimacy. So you need privacy, not just to meet the lower needs of like Maslow of, you know, shelter, but you also need privacy for higher end goods like the good of friendship, the good of intimacy. And when we talk about financial privacy, we're talking about respecting private property. And money, cash, is nothing more than the most liquid good. That's what money is. And money is an asset type that makes you lucky in the environment, because cash as money allows you, when you have cash readily available, it makes you luckier because you can take advantage of limited time offers in the economy that other people who are invested in more in assets that are not as liquid, they can't easily divest, let's say sell a home, sell a property, sell a car to get into a limited time offer. The guy holding cash has places himself in a position of being more lucky. When you move in the market and you are in cash, when you're seeking when you're in cash, you don't want to, you want to protect yourself from any type of financial voyeurism, because the way you invest yourself in life and the way you manage a portfolio that is in itself a type of intellectual property. So just like Coca-Cola is, you know, covets the sacred recipe for Coca-Cola, in that same way, any portfolio manager from the biggest company to just the you know, the resident down the street who owns, you know, who has a family portfolio, we don't want financial voyeurism. It's just a natural thing. You want to protect your private property. You want to protect your intellectual property. You want to protect your you want to protect your what you have. You don't want to put yourself at the risk of any criminal, whether that criminal be a criminal, you know, in the everyday, you know, space, common criminal, or a government, right? So it's no one is walking around with their social security on their forehead, right? No one is walking around with a bank account readily available to everyone to see how much you have in your bank accounts. So it's just a natural thing. That's the way I see it. It's just natural.
Yes. Now, forgive me for interrupting, because we're not on video, so you're not going to see me raise my hand, right? But you're pointing to something. So no one is going to post their password for their email account publicly. And then everybody knows your ins and outs of your business. You cannot have sovereignty without privacy. I belong to me. My thoughts are mine. My actions are mine. I'm responsible for them. I belong to me. And if I get into some sort of relationship or a conversation with you, Rafael, and we don't want it to be public, well, that conversation belongs to us, that transaction, even if it's the exchange of goods, because I'm going to use Pirate Chain or Zano or Monero to get into an exchange with you, which you and I are agreeing to as sovereign individuals. The other thing about privacy is you cannot have creativity without privacy. And as proof of that, just need to look at countries where people are heavily surveilled, like North Korea, like Soviet Union, and increasingly the UK and the European Union, because it kills innovation. For you and I, what we're going to do, Rafael, you and I are going to meet privately to create something which we think is going to make a difference in some way, you know, some great business idea or some great cryptocurrency project. And we don't want the fruits of our discussion to be stolen or suppressed by others until we're ready to launch it publicly. And that could be the case if we're going to write a book or something, or come up with a cryptocurrency project or a new business service, anything like that. You cannot have sovereignty without privacy. You cannot have freedom without privacy, and you cannot have creativity without privacy.
Totally agree.
Hey guys, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
This is Mr. X. Okay, awesome. Sorry about that. I had some audio issues there. Sorry about that.
Thank you for joining.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Yeah, again, this is Mr. X of the Crypto Vigilante, one of the analysts and co-founder with Rafael LaVerde. Yeah, just wanted to join the conversation. Yeah, I totally agree. Privacy is essential. And specifically, I guess if we go more specifically into the topic of privacy as it relates to blockchains, the important thing about privacy is that if transactions on a blockchain are private by default at the protocol level, then they cannot be censored. That also helps with the uncensorability or impossibility of censorship, and basically miners could censor transactions if they are visible, right? So with Monero and Parachain, for example, which are both fully private cryptocurrencies, miners cannot even see the contents of the sources, destinations, and amounts of the transactions, and therefore they cannot be censored by miners.
Yes. No, thank you. And I think what you're talking about, Mr. X, fits into what Rafael and I were talking about the importance of privacy in general, how critical that is, and that privacy cryptocurrencies, decentralized VPNs, other decentralized services like NIM's decentralized internet or Cortal's decentralized internet offer us the opportunity of preserving our sovereignty, our freedom, our liberty by preserving our privacy. Okay, why don't we go through some of the things that you think are available in the blockchain space that you think are really, really great for privacy? Either of you?
What category? I mean, we can let's talk about here, Mr. X. How about we talk about Trocador? Because I know you're a fan of Trocador. Let's talk about Trocador. I think that's something that a lot of people don't know about. It's a great way for people to trade crypto. Mr. X, if you could explain what Trocador means, that'd be great.
Yeah, Trocador is a service that basically it's a swap aggregator. So it aggregates various crypto swap services. There's a lot of instant swap exchanges that support many hundreds of different cryptocurrencies. But what Trocador.app is the website, Trocador, Trocador.app. That website there that basically connects to a lot of these swap services, and then Trocador provides a ranking system showing which of these services are like more or less likely to perform KYC or know your customer requirements. Like sometimes they will, if funds appear to be suspicious based on a blockchain analytics or other anti-money laundering types of checks that they run, then they could be more likely to be frozen. But then there's some providers that do not freeze people's funds, or they at least give you the option if maybe they don't pass those AML checks, then they let you at least return your funds to you and they don't freeze them or seize them. Because there have been a lot of instances where people are trying to swap in or out of cryptocurrencies, especially privacy cryptocurrencies, without having to provide all of their personal identifying information. And then the funds end up getting frozen, sometimes at no fault of their own. Maybe they just, the wallet was in the past maybe could have been connected to something that they thought was suspicious, or maybe just incorrectly identified as something illicit. But in some cases, or maybe they even sent an amount that was too large. Some of these exchanges have a maximum amount they allow. So a lot of those things you can check with the ranking system. You can also, Trocador actually fully insures some of these swap exchanges trades up to a certain amount. And you can check to see that when you're preparing to make a swap between cryptocurrencies. So what I recommend doing is use Trocador, but just try plugging in different amounts.
Okay.
And then,
Mr. X, if you hold on a second, please, because I have some questions and I want to clarify what you're saying and make sure I understand, because if I understand them, perhaps some of the listeners will understand. There are exchange aggregators like ChangeLly or ChangeNow or Swapzone.
Well, those aren't aggregators. Actually, Trocador itself is the aggregator, so they're aggregating across ChangeLly and other swap providers. So those would be the individual swap providers like ChangeLly.
Right.
And actually, I was going to say ChangeLly. We do not recommend ChangeLly because they are actually known for freezing people's funds. So,
but those
at least Monero in the Monero community, at least.
Yeah. Thank you for that clarification. So they offer swap funds where, you can just put in, I want to exchange USDT for Bitcoin or Monero for, I don't know, USDT or something. And very simple. It means I don't have to go and sign up to an exchange. And then the risk that you're saying is that with some of them, in particular, you mentioned ChangeLly, is they will freeze the funds mid-transaction and they won't refund it either. Or some of them will say, okay, you need to do KYC before we release the funds. And what you're saying is Trocador, which is TROCADOR.app, doesn't do that.
Well, no. So Trocador, it helps you to pick a swap provider to help avoid having to do that, correct? So the way you use Trocador properly is to look at their ranking system and read all of their FAQs, read all of their terms, conditions, everything, and read all the directions there. And that will help you, if you follow them, that will help you to avoid having your funds frozen. And the way I recommend using it is to stay under that limit where Trocador has a insurance. Basically, some of them have a insurance on them where it'll actually protect you. Or they have it's called the Trocador guarantee, actually, is what it's called. So if you use it through there, they can actually insure the funds as long as they fulfill the requirements.
Right. Okay. That's really good. That's a very good service because it makes it convenient and it means that we don't have to do KYC, which has all sorts of implications because who's holding that information, what are they doing with it, the risk of identity theft, and the loss of sovereignty when somebody steals your identity. Okay.
Yes, and one of the really cool things about it is that you can swap between privacy cryptos that otherwise they haven't built atomic swaps for yet. So, for example, you can actually swap between Monero and Pirate Chain directly from Trocador, and you can usually do a few $1,000s worth at a time. I recommend personally. I've found that usually staying under $3,000 or so, $2,000 or $3,000 at once. You can usually do batches of transactions. So if you're trying to move like a larger amount, like $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 worth of crypto, if you break it into those smaller amounts, then it tends to be easier to do without getting and also while still having your funds insured and not getting the funds frozen either.
Right. And I can see, I'm looking on Trocador.app, TROCADOR.app, is they have so I've just put in a $1,000 exchange of Tether to Bitcoin. And then if I scroll down, and people can try this out for themselves, it says, well, this is how much I will get from different exchanges. This is the spread, how long it will take. And there's a category for privacy. So this one, it scores D for privacy, and this other one scores A for privacy. So I might have a preference for one or the other, or might not be bothered. Okay, well, that's great. I didn't know Trocador did that. Thank you so much for that. Anything else on Trocador?
Well, actually, I wanted to mention there is another tool that I use as well called Orange Friend. So that is Orange and then FREN.com. So ORANGEFREN.com. Orange Friend. Yeah. And they're more kind of, I guess Trocador and Orange Friend, they're definitely very privacy and no KYC focused. And they also rank some exchanges as well. And they also sometimes have provided additional, I would actually you could use them instead or alongside Trocador. And for example, they actually they have an Orange Friend guarantee up to certain amounts. So they actually show which exchanges do never KYC. So they'll promise never ever to do KYC, which is very helpful. Yes. So, and you can also see the amounts. The amounts are guaranteed. For example, one of them is guaranteed, Xolix is guaranteed up to $6,000 per trade. And also never KYC. And also you can see the fees. So some people may be willing to pay extra fees and then not have any KYC and also do a larger amount. And then other ones, you might have, if you want to pay lower fees, you might have to try smaller amounts. So just using both of these tools together can be very helpful in maintaining your privacy and swapping between cryptocurrencies without revealing any of your personal information.
Right. That's very good. I'm looking at Orange Friend, and I mean, listening to you, I'm thinking about what a loss Trade Ogre shutdown has been to the privacy community, because they never asked KYC and they really specialized in a lot of privacy cryptos. And I don't think there's any exchange that has anything like the liquidity that Trade Ogre had and doesn't ask for KYC. What a shame.
Yeah, it is definitely, I 100% agree. A lot of us really enjoyed Trade Ogre, including myself. And yeah, it's definitely been a big loss. But I guess what I wanted to say here was that Trocador and Orange Friend definitely, I think, are very helpful tools in kind of restoring some of the liquidity that's been lost, because a lot of these exchange providers, they have access to deeper liquidity through other sources. So although it's not as easy to make, I guess, like on Trocador, for example, you could place bids, bid orders and sell orders, ask orders, and you were able to maybe get a better deal on certain coins, whether through buying or selling above or below the market price, right? So, but with these, it's just an instant swap, so you're not really able to place those orders at this point.
Right. Okay. All right. And I just want to make a mention, because they're going to be a future guest on this X Space, which is PLLD.net, Palladium. And because they had a lot of their tokens, PLLD, on Trade Ogre, and those are now frozen. And at one point, there was more trade happening with PLLD than there was in Monero, which was the most heavily traded cryptocurrency on Trade Ogre. They're in communication with the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, and they are working with their own lawyers in the Czech Republic to recover funds. Now, they're offering a service that if people go to PLLD.net, where people can join in that service, including cryptocurrency projects that had funds on Trade Ogre, that you can then piggyback with Palladium as they recover their funds through their lawyers. Now, if you only got a few $100s, it's not going to be worth it. But if you got $1,000 or more, because the fees are kind of minimal as far as I can understand, then it may be worth your while to get in touch and use their lawyer services, because that'll be a whole lot cheaper and easier than trying to do it yourself to recover from the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. All right, just wanted to make mention of that. Okay, so that's Trocador.app and also orangefriend.com. And when this goes out on my channels, I'll link to those in the description below. What's the next thing you want to let us know?
Well, I think that along these lines, important to talk about.
Rafael, your signal, you're distorted, like you're speaking through a fan or something. So I don't know if there's anything.
Yeah, Rafael, I think your connection is pretty low. You might have to go closer to the internet router or something.
Is this better? You guys hear me?
Oh yeah, that's better. That's better now. Yep.
Okay, so it's good that we're talking about that we started the conversation on these topics, because indeed the greatest mass surveillance in crypto comes forth from decentralized exchanges. So I think that another two other very good, useful tools are Cake Wallet and Edge Wallet. Cake Wallet has a lot more privacy features. Edge Wallet has more accounting features. And Edge Wallet allows you, whenever you make a swap between cryptocurrency, to choose on the settings or to view directly what exchange is being used. You can choose that all exchanges happen, all swaps happen within Edge Wallet via decentralized exchanges, DEXs, not centralized exchanges, which is CEX.
Yes.
That's the abbreviation. So make sure that you have good wallets. We recommend both the Edge wallet and Cake wallet as our preferred wallets for anyone new to crypto, because they are so versatile, because they allow you to swap between different cryptocurrencies, and because they're privacy centric.
Okay. Now, I know about Edge Wallet. They were also a guest on this X Space. I don't know about Cake Wallet, never used it. Is that a mobile wallet, or is it an extension wallet, or a web browser wallet, or all of them?
It's an application. Cake Wallet. Go to the website is cakewallet, so .com. Just cake,
yeah.
CAKE wallet.com. And they are actually on multiple platforms. So they're on Android, they're on iOS. You could also run it on Graphene OS, which is the most secure mobile operating system on a phone. Pixel, they run on Pixel currently right now, but it's basically a fork of the Android open source project. But you also can run it, I believe, on like Windows and Mac and Linux computers as well. So Cake Wallet works across all platforms.
Okay.
And they're also open source, and they're privacy focused.
Yes, and I think Edge Wallet is also open source and privacy focused. I know Edge Wallet has Pirate Chain and Zano and Monero and several other privacy cryptocurrencies. Does Cake Wallet have the same number of private cryptocurrency wallets or similar?
Yes, so Cake Wallet has Zano, has Monero. They have not added Pirate Chain yet, I don't think. I hope they will someday, but yeah, they haven't at this point. But they actually, for Monero, it's actually more private to use Cake Wallet than Edge Wallet for Monero, at least, because Edge Wallet uses the type of Monero Light Wallet server. It's like it basically keeps a copy on the server end for Edge Wallet of your view key. So they actually have more insight into your transactions. So if Edge Wallet servers get hacked, then somebody could look into your wallets, some of the contents of your wallet there. But with Cake Wallet, it uses a native Monero node. So the Monero node cannot see, and they do not have a copy of your view key on the Cake Wallet. So actually, you could connect with Cake Wallet. You could connect to any Monero node, remote node anywhere if you want, in addition to Cake Wallet's servers.
Great. Okay. Thank you so much for that. We now have a couple of exchanges, and we have a couple of wallets. What else should people use with regards to private in order to preserve their privacy?
So, we actually just did a seminar on all of these topics. That was like over 12 hours of education.
Oh my gosh!
Called the Crypto Vigilante.
I think it was about 10 hours or so.
Yeah.
10 hours.
And we titled it "What Matters Most in Crypto." And
the website is tcvsummit.com. If you want to find out more about that, that's tcvsummit.com.
Yeah.
tcvsummit.com. Yep.
Yeah. We also have a crypto workshop for anyone that is brand new. That is like 6 hours of education regarding everything you need to know in crypto to get you started with crypto. Mr. X, maybe you want to tell them about that.
That website is tcvworkshop.com. So if you type in TCV Workshop Crypto Basics, so basically for that, like Rafael said, it's over 6 hours of content there. And we had all of our analyst team at the Crypto Vigilante went through the basics of crypto. So our analyst, Mr. Z, who's been in Monero also since near the beginning as well, he explains the background of crypto, also the background of Bitcoin, why crypto is important, and then, of course, why privacy is important. He has a whole lecture on the crypto privacy revolution and why privacy is essential in crypto. And then we also have Rafael has a video with the founder of Edge Wallet, Paul Quay, who explains how to set up a wallet and for newbies who may be completely new to crypto and don't know how to set up a wallet, and how to exchange their funds to Monero and have privacy. And you could also, of course, exchange to Pirate Chain or Zano as well, using the same process. Also, our privacy operational security expert, Mr. P, explains the important basics of operational security and how to use technology properly to ensure that you actually do have privacy using cryptography and open source tools to help ensure that you do have that preserve your privacy, like VPNs, other things like and the Tor network, all these types of things. Then we have Mr. W and Mr. A, who are crypto market technicians, technical analysts, and they explain cryptocurrency markets, trading and analysis, how to look at a chart, how to use tools like CoinGecko, how to buy and sell cryptocurrencies using exchanges, and the basics of that. And then at the end, we had a panel as well with Rafael, myself, and Mr. A answering various questions at Q&A.
Right. Fabulous, fabulous. Okay. And people can link through all of those, I think, from cryptovigilante.io. And
yes,
those are great services that you offer. Okay. So what else do you want to let us know? Do you think it'd be useful for people to know?
I think one thing that we don't talk much about, but that we offer as part of the newsletter is that, and I know a lot of people, maybe the more advanced crowd would really get a kick out of this. We have a ton of like Linux tutorials from Mr. P on our monthly newsletter. And yeah, we've had tutorials on Fedora, tutorials on, what else have we done? I think we did, yeah, we pretty much have done them all.
Oh yeah, Mr. P. Mr. P has done many deep dives. Like if you read each of our monthly newsletters, each month, pretty much for the last few years, actually, he's been writing very detailed tutorials, how to like install Fedora workstation Linux, and then how to customize it and how to upgrade its security, how to using virtual machines, all kinds of methods to protect your privacy and your security. Because of course, I mean, if you could have all this crypto, but if you don't have security, it could all be stolen very quickly. And actually, this happens a lot. So operational security is extremely important. That's really the how do you use crypto? How do you keep yourself safe? And also privacy.
Okay, let me go back to Linux. So, because Linux doesn't have anywhere near the market share like Mac or Windows. I'm on a Mac right now. I think more people use Windows applications. For those who don't know, which includes myself, I'm not an expert in Linux at all. I'm not a coder. I'm not technically gifted in any way, really. Why Linux? What's the big deal about Linux? Why is that so important?
Well, I mean, Linux is very important. It is tend to be more secure, but there's also, depending on how it's set up, well, first of all, a lot of these big companies, like you have Apple and Windows, both of them, they spy on their users, and especially the newer versions of these operating systems have increasingly added a lot of this telemetry, or basically where they phone home back to the corporate servers, and they send a lot of private data to them. And even Windows was known for I think the latest Copilot was the AI feature they included that actually records your whole screen and takes pictures of it. So if someone hacks in your computer, they can see, like if you have your crypto on there, there's actually been examples of people where they have their crypto stolen because of this new quote unquote feature, which invades your privacy, actually takes pictures of your screen, including your wallet seed phrases and all those sort of things. And somebody that can get access to your computer can see that, even if you think it's secure. It's actually not, especially if you have those features enabled. So yeah, these are all important, very important things to be aware of. And Mr. P has covered them all in depth in our newsletter in those in the operational security.
Okay, now Copilot. So Copilot is an AI, and you're saying there have been reports of Copilot taking screenshots. It's embedded in the Windows software, taking screenshots of what's on the screen, and then people using those screenshots, getting access to people's private keys, and then stealing the crypto. Now, you may not know this about me, Mr. X, because I don't think you and I have ever spoken before. I work as a child protection social worker. That's my job. And I've worked for 2 local authorities that use Copilot for their social workers. So if I want to find out some information, I can tap and make a request of Copilot. Now, the risk here, what you're saying is that you're not saying that it definitely happens, that it may be possible that through Copilot, the information that I might have on screen about children and families and what's going on and what I'm investigating could be available to other people?
Well, yeah, if someone gets access to your computer, so what happens is Copilot takes pictures of your screen and stores it in a certain folder. I know this was the case for a while, and then there was a lot of people that obviously had some frustration about it. So I think it, if I'm not totally sure, I have to double check the information, but I think it was enabled by default. And then I think because so many people were angry about it, I think they may have disabled it, but I think the functionality is still there. So but I'm not totally sure. Don't quote me on that, but I think that was the case. I'll have to double check.
It'll be something that I'm going to run past the IT department where I work, because, I mean, it's bad enough sharing, people losing their own private keys, but people finding out about abuse that's going on, that could be going on in a family, and, about children that have been, vulnerable children that have been abused. It just goes to show that in this world that's been developing and growing for the last 10, 20 years or so, ever since the internet, there's more and more going on than we actually know about. And that our sovereignty, our freedom, our liberty, our privacy is being compromised in ways we don't necessarily know. And of course, in the UK, where I am, we're going to be blessed soon with digital IDs. Aren't we lucky? I think they're already
I'm really sorry. That's a tragedy. And
oh, Rafael, your connection is rugging again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, look, we've got about 10 minutes left. Let's go through some of the privacy cryptos that you think are worth people taking a look at. And of course, you have to say Zano and Pirate Chain because they're both listening. And
they're to. Oh yeah, we love Zano, Pirate Chain, Monero. Those. And then of course, actually, there's another one called Tari, which was created by. One of the co-founders is Fluffy Pony, who is one of the earliest Monero developers. So yeah, Tari, Pirate Chain, Monero, Zano, those are some of our top coins that we like. Some of these other ones, I remember you mentioned Dash, but Dash, we never really liked Dash because, I mean, it's really not a privacy coin, not really a true privacy coin. And then, of course, also you mentioned Zcash, but Zcash, I believe 80-90% of, at least, of their transactions are fully transparent using the T addresses. So Pirate Chain corrects that, is basically took the innovations of cryptography that Zcash created, but then they set it up so properly, really, so that it all of the transactions are private by default. So and everything is enforced at the protocol level. So only mining transactions, when the coins are created, those you can see that. But anything after that point, after the mining block rewards, everything after that is completely private. And the anonymity set of Pirate Chain right now is the largest in all of crypto.
Yes, and just on the anonymity set, so that people understand, if you think of a haystack, and as the anonymity set, the larger the haystack, and you got to find a particular transaction, like a particular blade of straw, the harder it is to find that blade of straw. And Pirate Chain has the largest haystack of all the privacy cryptos, and every single transaction, like you said, apart from the first one where the coin is mined, and that's to make sure that the miners aren't producing extra Pirate Chain coins for their own benefit. All the other coins, all the other transactions are invisible and cannot be seen on the blockchain. So that's Pirate Chain. And then do you want to tell us a little bit about Zano, and then Tari, and then of course Monero?
Yeah, Zano, it has also, one of the cool things about Zano is that it has the ability to create tokens that are private as well. And it uses similar technology that Monero uses with the ring signatures. So yeah, that's, actually there's even I know there's an algorithmic stablecoin called Freedom Dollar, FUSD, which is on Zano, and that's also gaining some popularity as well. So, and anybody can basically create their own token on Zano, a private token.
Yes, a private token that can't be seen. And Freedom Dollar is a privacy-focused stable coin. Because in the UK, Rafael, Mr. X, I don't know if you know this, the Bank of England cares about the British people so much. It wants to keep us so safe from scams that they're considering putting limits on how much stable coins that an individual can hold, they're talking about no more than $10,000 to $20,000 in stable coins in order to look after us and keep us safe. But a privacy stable coin like Freedom Dollar, there's no such limits. People can hold as much money as they want. Perish the thought they should have that level of liberty.
Well, and actually, you could do it even on normal stablecoins. You don't have to necessarily use Freedom Dollar. And I would actually recommend diversifying, because if the thing is that Freedom Dollar is an algorithmic stablecoin, so and remember what happened with Luna, that was a algorithmic stablecoin that completely crashed. So I'm not saying that that's for sure what will happen with Freedom Dollar, but it is something just to be aware of. But as far as ways to privately use stablecoins, if you're using a fund, if you're using coin control, which is basically the idea of keeping track of all of your crypto wallets and privacy in mind, basically thinking like a hacker whenever you're using your wallets and all the possible ways that they can be tracked or traced. I guess another option would be to use a privacy cryptocurrency like Monero that has good liquidity, and then you could anonymously swap into a brand new USDT wallet or USDC wallet on another blockchain using like Trocador or Orangefront, like I talked about earlier. You could actually anonymously swap into some of your funds into stablecoins on those using those platforms without having to provide any identification. And as long as those wallets don't become tainted or touched by any other wallets that could be connected to your real world identity, then you could actually have some privacy that way as well.
Yes, that's very important. Well, the important point there is to diversify. Don't get stuck with one stablecoin, and then you can use Zano or Pirate Chain or Monero. I mean, Zano has a bridge that allows people to put DAI, and you can put DAI and Bitcoin and ETH on the Zano blockchain, and it's invisible. But people got to check all these out for themselves and then work it out. Okay, now tell us about Monero or Tari.
Well, yeah, Tari is also, I probably should have said a little bit more about Tari there. Tari also it's still in the very early stages of development. So Tari actually plans to add a layer 2, which will actually have a lot of the smart contract features, tokens, apps. Are going to be, I think, like Tari apps actually will be on the layer 2, which is pretty exciting. So, like I said, it's all private at the base layer there. So that's going to be pretty cool to see what Tari will be building. And it just launched actually earlier this year, I believe, or within the last year or so. So that's another coin that I'm pretty excited about, and I think it's quite cheap at these levels as well. And then Monero is...
Well, before you go... Sorry, Mr. Rick, before you go into Monero, so what's so special about Tari?
Well, yeah, Tari, like I said, it has the capacity, especially on the second layer once they're building. Right now, it's running at the layer 1, which uses a token called Minotari, or XTM Minotari, which is you can mine. But then those coins, you can, when they create the second layer, those coins will be burned, I think, at a 1-to-1 ratio for the second layer, which is going to be Tari itself, which will run all of the apps and the smart contracts and the Tari apps that'll run on there. And there's actually, if you go to tari.com, that's TARI.com, there's a ton of information you can find, learn more about how it works. You can look at the tokenomics. Actually, if you go to that page, tari.com, at the bottom, you can see the tokenomics, which explains how the 2 layers work and how those tokens are burned at that ratio. And then the second layer, so the layer 2 is called the OODL, is what they call it, Tari layer 2. And Tari, that second layer, is going to be called XTR tokens. But that layer 2 hasn't launched yet. So I think when that launches, that'll be exciting to see all of the innovation that'll happen there.
Yep, and I'm just looking on CoinGecko. Tari listed on CoinGecko on May the 22nd, 2025.
Yep, yeah, that's right. It was earlier this year.
Yes. It is a very new cryptocurrency, and you can also mine it on your laptop.
That's correct. Yeah.
Which also favors decentralization. Okay, so that's...
Yeah, it's very decentralized. And it has multiple actual algorithms. So you can mine it. If you have a GPU, you can mine because I believe the algorithm, I have to double check, but I believe it splits into like 3 different types of miners. So you actually have every few block hashes are different algorithms, and it kind of rotates. So you can mine random X with the CPU. So basically, it's the really cool thing about Tari is that anybody can participate. So if you have a graphics card, you can mine with your graphics card, or if you have a really good CPU, or you can mine with both. So it's actually really cool.
Great. Okay, that's Tari, and then Monero. I haven't heard of Monero. What's that one about?
Well, Monero is really the oldest real true privacy coin, in my opinion. You had Dash before that, but it's not really a true privacy coin. But Monero does have very good privacy, actually. Not quite as good, technically, debatably, as Pirate Chain, but there's a lot more people in Monero. So in some ways, you could argue that Monero is maybe just as private in the sense because there's a much larger group of people using it. So it does have a smaller anonymity set for each transaction because it only uses a ring size of 16. So, and that protects the sender. So ring signatures protect the sender of a transaction in Monero. So there's basically 15 decoys and 1 real transaction in a Monero transaction that protect the identity of the sender. And then the receiver is protected in Monero by something called stealth addresses. And those are uniquely generated, randomized addresses on the blockchain. So, and you can't see who they're connected to. And then your Monero wallet address, if you were to copy and paste a Monero wallet address into a blockchain explorer for Monero, you will not find it anywhere because of the stealth addresses that are actually cryptographically generated within your wallet. So you cannot see, unlike Bitcoin or Ethereum or any other coins, you cannot see the balance of anyone's wallet on the blockchain unless you have something called a view key. So, and the view key would be voluntarily disclosed. And also, I forgot to mention earlier that Pirate Chain also has the capability to voluntarily reveal transaction or wallet data with view keys as well. So, and then of course, another technology for Monero currently that it uses to hide the transaction amounts is called ring confidential transactions, or ring CT.
Okay, and the advantage of Monero is that it's so well established and it has so much liquidity and everybody knows about it, and it is worth investigating, as is Pirate Chain, Zano, Tari, and other privacy cryptocurrencies. And of course, the applications that you mentioned, Trocadero, Cake Wallet, Trocadero, Cake Wallet, X, and orangefriend.com. And of course, cryptovigilante.io. Rafael and Mr. X, any last words you want to say before we finish up?
Oh, yeah, I would say real quick about what the last thing you said there with Monero, everyone knowing about it. I would actually argue that privacy coins in general, I think, are extremely undervalued. The market in general, the crypto market especially, is not really very aware of these. Like, a lot of people, especially the newbies getting in, most people just buy a few random cryptocurrencies on Coinbase and they think, oh, yeah, I have crypto. And they assume, and they may have heard incorrect news articles that say, oh, Bitcoin is an anonymous cryptocurrency, but that's totally not the case. It is not private. So I think, yeah, these cryptocurrencies in general, I think Monero, Pirate Chain, Zano, a lot of these other ones, most people have never heard of them. Most people do not know about them yet. And I think people who get into these cryptos early and start using them are going to be rewarded in the future, because this is a very early space. And I think we're really on the cutting edge of it. So that's kind of, I guess, my last words there in regards to the privacy coins.
Yes. Absolutely. And I agree with you. I think as certainly in the UK and Europe, as governments get more and more authoritarian with their CBDCs and their digital IDs and censorship and increasing surveillance, and alongside the decay in the value of the fiat shitcoins like the euro and the pound, privacy cryptos are going to become more and more important, because, like I said at the beginning, without privacy, there is no sovereignty. Without privacy, there is no freedom. Without privacy, there is no creativity. So we're going to do what we can to preserve our privacy. So Mr. X and the Crypto Vigilante, thank you so much. Cryptovigilante.io. thecoinrepublic.com. Thank you for them for hosting this. And I look forward to speaking to you all at some point soon. I do these once a week. So the next one is scheduled for next Saturday, 5 o'clock UK time. This is Crypto Rich signing out.
Now we are dealing with a possible world war. Some will say we are already in a world war. My condolences and prayers go out to everyone suffering under tyranny. It really sucks. I'm really sorry. But it seems as if people are starting to wake up regarding crypto more and more each day. And so it's in the description right here to read, where we give our secret sauce and what we teach our subscribers, because things are just that bad. You know, everyone needs this information. People need to know about sound cryptocurrencies that are actually private by default, and to know how to properly use crypto.